Most people stay stuck because they believe these 5 lies about the online creator economy. But the top 1% of entrepreneurs do the opposite. And that's why they scale to 7 figures. My name is Michael, and I've built multiple 7-figure online coaching businesses in the music niche. And now I help other coaches scale without overwhelm or burnout. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the side-by-side comparison of what average entrepreneurs do versus what the top 1% do. So let's dive in. If you want average results, do what average people do. But if you want the top 1% results, you have to learn how the top 1% think. Now, I spent years believing the various lies that we're going to cover today about the online creator economy. But when I started thinking like the top 1%, everything changed for me. So let's break down the 5 lies that keep people stuck, and we're going to look at what the top 1% do instead. Most online entrepreneurs spend years building an audience, but the top 1%, they build partnerships and then they launch in 90 days or less. Here's how they do it. The average creator will spend 2 years posting every day, writing blogs, shooting YouTube videos, and creating social media content, and hoping to build enough of a following to make launching their offer worthwhile. In fact, they're going to go through cycles where they put in the effort for a few weeks at a time, and then they take a break just because they didn't see the results that they were expecting. Then a couple months later, they're going to repeat this process, and this just happens over and over and over. Meanwhile, the top 1%, they find other influencers in their niche who already have their ideal audience, and then they offer them a percentage of revenue to become an affiliate. Then they launch in 90 days. For example, when I started, I made a list of about 10 influential people in my niche, and then I offered them 50% of the enrollment for every conversion they made. Now, if they'd promote my offer to their audience, they were going to get roughly $500 per enrollee who came through them. 5 of those people said yes, and that first launch generated $96,000 in 1 week. And that's actually more than I made in the previous year. So your first step is to make a list of 10 to 15 people in your niche who already have your audience. Then reach out, offer them a win-win scenario, and put a date in your calendar 60 to 90 days from now to launch your offer. But even with partnerships, you can still get stuck if you believe the next lie. So let's talk about pricing. Coaches are lowering prices more than ever before to get clients. But the top 1%, they raise their prices to attract the best, and here's why. The average coach will charge between $300 to $500 for their program because they think if I charge less, more people are going to buy. But the people who buy solely based on price and not results, they are the wrong people. They're the wrong customers because they only want shortcuts and they will not implement because they're prioritizing price over results. Therefore, they just don't get the results that they want. Meanwhile, the top 1%, they're going to charge $3,000 or more for the same program. Of course, they're going to get fewer clients, but those are the clients who are actually committed. Those are the clients who get results and then become raving fans. Now, raving fans give you raving testimonials, and raving testimonials attract more high-level clients. So do not lower your prices to get more clients. Raise your prices so you attract the best clients. And these are the people who will get results. And a track record of results is what positions you as a premium provider in your niche. Focus on quality over quantity every day of the week. Now consider this. If I told you that I have a Ferrari in my driveway that I'm trying to sell for $10,000, the first thing you'd think is, what's wrong with it? Now, it doesn't matter if you're a car buff or not. Every single person walking the planet knows that Ferraris are not $10,000 vehicles. So if you're charging less than $1,000, for example, for your core coaching program, and that program literally transforms people's lives, raise your price today. You'll instantly attract a different caliber of client because you just positioned yourself as a premium provider. But even with the right price, you can still waste months building the wrong thing. And here's the next lie. You just need to create a program. Most coaches build their program based on what they want to create, but the top 1%, they validate before they build. For example, the average coach will spend 3 or 4 months building a massive program, and then they're going to spend the rest of their time finding an audience for it. I have seen this hundreds of times. They put in all this time and effort, but when it does not land or they can't find an audience, they feel like a failure. Meanwhile, the top 1%, they test that offer by selling it before building it. If people pay, they're going to build it. If not, they pivot. And it all comes down at that point to how you frame the offer. And it's really quite simple. If people pay, you have a product and you have a business. If they don't pay, you just saved months of wasted work. So before you build anything, sell 5 beta spots at 50% off. If people pay, build it. If not, pivot and find a different offer to create. But even with a validated offer, you can still burn out if you believe the next lie, and that is you've got to be everywhere. Too many people try to be everywhere all at once online, but the top 1% who are crushing it, they go deep on just 1 or 2 platforms. The average entrepreneur or online coach will try to create content for Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and then they're going to get mediocre results because each platform utilizes content in a unique way. You just cannot create high converting content for each platform and still have time to serve your clients at a high level, especially if it's just you and a very small team doing all the work. Now, the top 1% of online entrepreneurs, they just pick 1 or 2 platforms, they master them, and they build real relationships with their audience through those platforms. For example, for the last 8 years, my focus has been entirely on leveraging relationships and partners through affiliate partnerships. I spoke at events, I wrote articles for industry magazines and online blogs and whatnot. Only recently have I jumped into social platforms. And in that case, I only really utilize YouTube and Instagram. So do not spread yourself thin. You can have a tremendously successful online business without blowing up every platform. But if social media is your marketing tool, pick your top 2 platforms and go all in for 90 days. Experiment with content, track your results, and when you land on something that's working and you're attracting organic traffic, optimize for those platforms. But even when everything is going great, you can still end up miserable if you chase the wrong goal. And here is the final lie. Revenue equals freedom. Too many entrepreneurs think revenue equals freedom, and this is simply not true. Your business can generate tremendous profit, but it can still be a prison for you. The top 1%, they build for freedom first and revenue second. And here's what that looks like. So many people chase revenue and they wear it as a badge of honor that they're a workaholic. And I see this all the time. A business that was meant to give someone freedom actually becomes a prison of their own creation. They're tethered to the day-to-day activities of that business, and the business literally cannot run without them. But the top 1% leverage systems and automations. This allows them to work less than 20 hours a week. And when they are working, they're focused on the high level and fulfilling tasks that actually gives them life. They delegate everything else to their team, and they empower that team to make the decisions that will move the business forward. Now, when I built my latest business, I had very specific non-negotiables of what I was and was not willing to do. Prioritize freedom over revenue. Build a business that serves your life, not consumes it. So let's recap the 5 lies and how you can break through like the top 1%. Here's a side-by-side comparison. Average entrepreneurs build an audience for years. Top 1%, they build partnerships and they launch in 90 days. The average entrepreneur lowers prices to get more clients. The top 1%, they raise prices to attract the best clients. The average entrepreneur, they create the perfect offer before selling, while the top 1%, they validate before they build. The average entrepreneur tries to be everywhere online, while the top 1%, they go deep on 1 or 2 platforms. And finally, the average entrepreneur believes that revenue equals freedom, while the 1%, they believe in freedom first and revenue second. If you want average results, do what average coaches do. But if you want the top 1% of results, you have to think like the top 1%. So my question to you is, which of these top 1% strategies are you going to implement this week? Drop a comment below and let me know. Your feedback will actually help me create additional videos like this. And by the way, if you're ready to break out of the average trap, I have a free guide called 7 Simple Steps to a 7-Figure Business. There's a link on this page for you to grab a copy. But anyway, you now know the 5 lies that keep coaches stuck and what the top 1% do instead. Do not waste years of your life doing what everyone else does. Model the top 1%. Build relationships, raise your prices, validate before you build, go deep, and then, of course, build for freedom. Now go execute, and I'll see you in the next one.